Toxic double standards are no longer something new to the K-pop community. Imagine you're a K-pop idol, but you're not pretty. People call you ugly. You do surgery and look better? People call you plastic monster. Seems like you just can't satisfy those people, no matter what you do. In today's video, we will show you some of the most ridiculous double standards like that in K-pop. Make sure you don't smash your phone after watching this. Number 1. K-pop idols must be skinny, but must also enjoy good food. Is it true that we all love to see idols enjoying good food? That's why K-pop idols' mukbang videos always gain a massive amount of views. Because it makes us happy to see them having a great time with their meals. Remember when ITZY's Yoona rushed into a bingsu store and binge ate her dessert in secret? Or the time when BTS's RM sneaked out just to have jjajangmyeon? More recently, TXT's Yeonjun revealed that after he successfully lost 5 kilograms in 2 weeks to pass the company's weight test, the poor boy immediately ran to a convenience store and ordered 2 sets of noodles. These stories break our hearts, making us rage about the strict diets companies force on their idols, and fight for the idols' right to eat more of the food they like. So touching. But things are not so heartwarming anymore when these idols start to gain some weight because of that food. They'll start to see fat-shaming posts everywhere on the internet, saying they should pay attention to their eating habits, and that they're destroying the beautiful lineup of the group. Their fanbase will experience a slower increase, if not decrease to be frank. And the worst of all is when hardcore fans also grow tired of protecting their idols, as they seem unable to find a good reason defending their weight gain. According to the current trend, the standard weight formula for a female idol is height minor 120. For example, if you're 163 centimeters, the standard weight for you is 163 minus 120 equals 43 kilograms. Well, if you meet this standard, I bet you will look like a walking paper in real life, and won't have enough strength as well as stamina to do anything. This is why we've heard of countless starving diets coming from female idols, which often consist of poor nutrition, poor energy food with very little portions, not suitable for an adult's needs. For male idols, it's a bit better because they're required to have muscles and can eat a little bit more. When knowing about such harsh diets that idols have to follow, people often exclaim how cruel the K-pop industry is, and ask the companies to let their idols eat well. The thing is, if the idols eat well, they will not have a standard physique, and will definitely get bashed by hypocrites. This is probably one of the most typical double standards in K-pop that we have yet to understand. Number 2. Craving for pretty visuals, but getting upset with idols having plastic surgeries. Obviously, to become an idol, one of the first and foremost boxes to check is having a pretty face. In fact, the look of an idol can totally project him or her into the brightest stardom, regardless of their talents. So, as a result, literally all idols must find one way or another to look as beautiful as possible. Because if they are not pretty enough, they would immediately be bashed and asked to do something to enhance their look. With just a few searches and clicks, you can already see a bunch of threads about famous idols that are constantly attacked for being ugly. What's even more disturbing is that these lists even include some big names from Idols Gen 2, proving how the hate bandwagon has already been running for years, yet no one bothered to stop it. The latest epitome of the crazy hate stemming from the alleged ugly look of idols is ITZY's Chaeyoung. And even until now, people still couldn't stop calling her out for being the visual whole of the group. Things went on for years, such that some new fans had to post on big forums, asking questions like, why do people think Chaeyoung from ITZY is so ugly? Yet, regardless of how many threads were posted, the answer was always the same. Chaeyoung didn't fit well with the strict beauty standard of South Korea, and so she was criticized because of the alleged ugliness. However, when idols like Chaeyoung took the opinions of netizens seriously and reached out for plastic surgeries to improve their look, they were immediately bashed again for thriving for an unauthentic visual, and for implicitly promoting the unreachable beauty standards among young fans. People, and especially K-pop fans, are so against plastic surgeries that even when the plastic surgeries traces are as clear as day, fans still found one way or another to defend their idols from the getting under the knife allegations. Because they themselves just couldn't accept the fact that most idols do get plastic surgeries, though there's totally nothing wrong with that. Considering the first cases, where idols are thrown shade at for having plastic surgeries, some typical examples to name are that of Park Bom, Jungha, A-Pink's Naeun, and Namjoon. Most recently, Naeun has become the talk of the town for looking too different from her initial image. And according to netizens, she has become a Gangnam plastic surgery monster. The thing is, it's 100% true that she looked way different from herself before. Yet, regardless of all the solid proof, Naeun's fans still did their best to deny it, saying that her face changed only because of aging, and it was a natural process of all humans. According to a netizen, she could never understand why these fans always get offended when their idol gets plastic surgery. And as noticed by her, this conflicting discussion has happened not only to Naeun, but to literally all idols, and never once did it seem to stop. Number 3. Idols must change their hair color frequently, but also have to keep their hair healthy. If you've watched my video about idols that are criticized for recycling their image, you probably will think that it's a preference for idols to switch up their hairstyle frequently, because sticking forever to one color would make things unbearably boring. However, this isn't the case at all, because when idols do too much with their hair and end up getting it damaged, they will still be criticized for not knowing how to take care of their own health. Talking about the first phase of the paradox, it's easiest to look at the way Cha Eun-woo, Jisoo, and Shuhwa got bashed for the way they stick to their black hair most of the time. Especially for Shuhwa, she has kept her hair the same color and same length throughout 9 eras, and literally her whole career. While this obviously did no harm to netizens, and in a positive way, this also showed that Shuhwa knows her style and her identity very well, she was still criticized heartlessly. However, when idols change their hair too frequently and end up looking like wearing cheap straw-like wigs, they would become a concern for damaging their naturally healthy hair, and fans would bombard their DMs with caring messages. According to the famous hairstylist Goya, who has worked with Park Ji-hoon, the male idol used to receive lots of messages from concerned fans asking him to go back to the dark hair. Because of that double standard, people really don't understand what these fans want from their idols. Number 4. Idols must have a good long rest, but also must come back frequently. Besides the paradox about idols' hair color, K-pop fans also confuse people when it comes to their way of viewing how an idol should rest. When idols are on a long break after working so hard, their agencies would get criticized for poorly managing idols, and not knowing how to promote their talents in the bloodily competitive scene. However, when idols come back frequently to compete with other acts, their companies will still be hated for overworking them, being unethical, and nonchalant to the wellness of artists. The cases of Blackpink and Twice are 2 solid examples for this. For a long time, Blinks have always called YG Entertainment out for letting Blackpink rest for too long, and for refraining the girls from showing their talents. However, it was recently revealed by Jennie that she was mentally and physically sick after the packed schedule in 2020. Other members were also confirmed to have their sleep system breaking down. Eating habits turned upside down for a year and a half. They didn't even have a home. Just with a brief sharing, it's already clear how some so-called Blinks have been clowning themselves and blindly throwing hate, though what they saw was the tip of the iceberg. Or for Twice, when the group willingly worked around the clock because the members didn't have individual activities, many onces also bashed JYP Entertainment for not letting the girls rest enough. During that phase, the fact that Mina and Jungyoung took a rest to take care of their mental health was also the excuse for many onces to pour hatred onto JYP Entertainment. Though, to be fair, they still cared about the two's health and had a fair agreement with Twice about the work schedule. Number 5. Netizens bashing anti-fans, but when idols do the same, they are labeled arrogant. This is also one of the most ridiculous double standards in K-pop, because when anti-fans throw shade at idols, netizens can freely bash these haters with all kinds of obscene words. But guess what? When idols stand up for themselves and straight up ask anti-fans to leave them alone, they would be hated for being entitled and arrogant. This has happened lots of times to many idols before, but the most typical case is Shuhwa, who is often labeled as low EQ and arrogant because of her savage attitude to those she doesn't like. Based on Shuhwa's competencies, many believe the only reason Shuhwa managed to make the cut was that other girls had constantly pushed Cube Entertainment for it. For such a difference in Shuhwa's skills compared to the other members, she has been constantly labeled a filler member bringing nothing to the table, and the black hole of G-Idol. The hate was so scary that lots of fans have been standing up for Shuhwa, slapping back haters, though they also admitted that she would need to improve a lot. However, when Shuhwa herself did the same thing, telling anti-fans to stop watching G-Idol's MVs if they find her face ugly, people immediately turned back to label her an arrogant and annoying idol. She is even said to be the most controversial member of G-Idol. And combining this with her inherently lacking skills, not only netizens, but many Neverlands have criticized her non-stop. So which double standard that I mentioned is the most ridiculous to you? And do you know any other ones that are equally annoying? Comment down below to share your thoughts with us. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe to BeBoss TV for more interesting K-pop content. Thank you for watching.